Yeah, well, these were the same people that said, Iraq, liberators, all the rest of it. But of course, that machine, it just keeps pumping on, and they got all their talking points, and there's plenty of cuddles if you want to keep giving the machine what it wants, and plenty of cold shoulder if you don't. Last one before we finish.
Exactly.
Axios had an interesting insight from a collection of people who work for Biden. Surprise, surprise, all of the touchy-feely stuff, and I mean literally touchy-feely sometimes, well, he's quite the crank behind the scenes. Now, rather than getting into the gossip of what he said and when, for the first 3 years, you didn't hear a sound from inside that White House. Now they're taking you right into the heart of how he behaves in the Oval Office. That's the story.
Yes, look, it's very interesting. I think the knives are really out amongst normally friendly journalists and friendly press. It's been quite stark in the last week or so, not just the Axios piece about his anger, but there's been pieces in the New York Times and in the Atlantic basically calling for him to stand down. And just a day or two ago, the most extraordinary one actually was the volume of leaking to CNN, which wrote a huge essay that basically said multiple people in the White House don't even think that Biden is going to run again. That's quite a striking statement. These are multiple sources saying this, and indeed, if you look at the lack of staff in the campaign team, that's a fact. And also the fundraising that they just put out, $72 million in the second quarter. That sounds like a lot, but Barack Obama about 8 years ago got 86 million, and there's been a lot of inflation since then. So really, that's a much poorer result. There's not the momentum there. So there's a number of things you can look at that suggest. Indeed, I've written this in the Australian. I don't think Biden will be the candidate. I think at some point at the end of this year, early next year, he changes his mind. But that's obviously remains to be seen. But yeah, look, it's not looking good.
Well, and all the while, Gavin Newsom just sort of parading around like, hey, look at this grass that's greener over here. I've got the fake teeth. I've got the car salesman look just like Joe, but I won't be, performing weird acts like he did in Europe. And I'll get to that in a second. Thank you very much, Adam. We'll keep reading you in the Oz.
Thanks, Paul.